Hello, this is Maria from mathmammoth.com. In this lesson, we're going to review integer addition and subtraction. Our first problem is here, negative 33 plus 16. You can think of this as a movement on the number line. If you're at negative 33 and then you jump 16 units to right or left, it's towards the positives, it's towards the right. You can think of it that way. But I'm going to tell you the basic rule for integer addition now. And that is that when we are adding integers that have a different sign, one negative, one positive, then we check which side wins, so to speak. And once we have that figured out, we look at the difference of the absolute values and calculate that. So here, negatives are more, so the final answer will be negative. Negative side wins, but by how much? To find that, we need to take the difference of these absolute values, 33 and 16. So by how much do 33 and 16 differ? By 17 units, but the answer will be negative because there were more negatives. How about here? 45 plus negative 4. Again, we can check which side wins. First of all, there's way more positives than negatives, so our answer will be positive. And by how much does the positive side win? We subtract 45 minus 4, that's 41. The answer is 41. Another way to see this is actually that when we have plus and minus, that actually simplifies to a single minus as a shortcut. So this is 45 minus 4. And then when we have several integers to add, the basic idea is that we first add all the positive integers together and all the negative ones. And then lastly combine those two sums. So here's a negative, 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 a positive integer, negative, positive. So we will add these two positives, 24. Then we'll add all these 4 negatives. There's 25 and 5, that makes 30 negatives. These two make 16. 30 and 16 is 46. So all the negatives make negative 46. And lastly, we calculate negative 46 plus 24. So here, do the negatives or positives win? The negatives, yes. And by how much? We subtract 46 and 24 to find the difference of these two absolute values. That's going to be 22. So the final answer is negative 22. Let's briefly review also subtraction on the number line. We have negative 5 minus 8. I draw here a number line, and let's say 0 is here, and I have negative 5 somewhere. That's where I start. And then negative 8 or minus 8 means that I will go further into the negatives. So I'll jump like this, 8 units. And so it becomes negative 5 and then more negatives. We end up at negative 13. And this other one, again a number line, 0. I have 2 here. That's where I start. Minus 11 means I go towards the left, towards the negatives, 11 units. So this jump is 11 units long. Where will it end? Well, from 2 to 0 is 2 units, and then 9 more this way, right? So this will be at negative 9. Another important principle in integer subtraction is that any subtraction can be changed into an addition, and that is actually the mathematical definition of subtraction as an operation. For example, negative 8 minus 6. That gets changed into negative 8, and then add the opposite of what you're subtracting, like that. We're subtracting 6, we change that to its opposite, negative 6. And the subtraction now is addition. Now, this may not make it easier for you to solve in your mind, I don't know. Either way, it might be equally easy, but we're reviewing the principle. Here's 5 minus negative 3. Okay, we change it to an addition. This minus changes into addition operation, and this changes to its opposite, which is 3. So we get something pretty easy. As a shortcut, the double minus here changes into a plus. And so here, negative 11 minus negative 9, we can use the shortcut and write negative 11 plus 9. In reality, we are changing subtraction into addition of the opposite. And then here, there's more negatives, so they will win. And the difference between 11 and 9 is 2, so we get -2. Alright, let's look at now a more complicated problem where there's both additions and subtractions. There's two ways, or several ways to go about it. One is to go from left to right, step by step. The other one is to change all the subtractions into additions, and then add all the negatives, add all the positives separately, and then finally those two sums. So if I do the first method, I would first do -2 plus 5, which is 3. And then the rest of it still stays just like that. Then I would go 3 plus -9, and that's -6. And then -6 minus 8, that would be -14, plus 9, so that would be -5. Let me also do it the other way. So in this method, I will first change each subtraction into an addition. So we will get -2 plus 5 plus -9 plus -8 plus 9. Then I would add all the positives together and all the negatives together. But I see something interesting here. So let's do that first, and that's that we have -9 and +9. Those just cancel each other. They add to 0. And then adding all the negatives, -2 and -8 is -10. Adding all the positives, just 5 left. And then lastly adding these two, -5. The same answer, of course. Now let's talk a little bit about adding positive and negative fractions. We can add them the same way as adding integers, but there's also a little bit quicker way that I want to explain to you. To do that, let me write this first, here using the normal fraction notation. I will start adding normally, adding fractions, thinking of the common denominator that we need. And here there's 8 and 4, so my common denominator will be 8. And to handle this negative fraction, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this minus sign here in front of 3. Essentially, it becomes 1/8 plus -3 over 4, like that. And now we use rules of fraction addition. Like I said, we need a common denominator. That's going to be 8. So here we need to have the -6. At this point, then we will combine everything. It's going to be 8ths, and we will add 1 plus -6 here in the numerator. Okay, so that should be easy. 1 plus -6 is -5. And so that's our final answer, -5 over 8, except normally it's written with the negative sign in front of the fraction, so -5/8. Okay, let's do it again to get some more practice. Let me write this first using the regular way of writing fractions. Then we look at the denominators and determine what is going to be our common denominator. We have 6 and 5 and 3. Okay, 5 and 3 would mean 15, but then there's the 6. Okay, we can use the LCM. I hope you can see it's going to be 30. We will need to use 30 as the common denominator. So we will write everything with 30. All right, so this one here, we multiply by 5, so the top number is 25. Here, we multiply by 6, get 12 here, and over here by 10, like that. Then the next step is that if there's any negative fractions, we will move the negative signs to the numerators. And the whole thing is written now with one single denominator here, and then integers here in the numerator, -25 minus 12 plus 10, basically. And here's -37 plus 10, so that's -27 over 30. And then we can do two things here. One is to move the negative sign here in front. And then lastly, to simplify, because both of these are divisible by 3, so we actually get -9/10. Okay, I hope this was helpful and we're all done with this lesson.